everybody! Thank you for watching this new episode of Hanging with Davide. Welcome back, everybody. We're streaming on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. And we're gonna spend like 10 to 15 minutes together, and we're gonna talk about guitar stuff, or if you have any questions, to hang with you guys, and we're gonna have some fun. All right, so I'll start with playing one of the songs that I recorded for my last album, Room for Joy, which is one of the oldest blues song ever written, actually, which is called St. Louis Blues. Okay, so I'll start with that. But if you have any questions, any comments, write in the comment section here, and we'll hang out a little bit, and we'll talk about guitar stuff, guitar-oriented stuff, of course, okay? So this is St. Louis Blues. Alrighty, so that was San Louis Blues from Room for Joy album. You can find that on every streaming platforms. And actually, guys, so a big news is coming because on November the 28th, you can listen to a new song that we're going to release on that date, and it's gonna be a very interesting track because it's gonna be my first Christmas song, but it's not one of those too obvious and classy Christmas song that we all know about it. It's gonna be interesting, so I'm really looking forward for you guys to hear it. So mark the date, okay? November 28th. It's almost there, around the corner, right around the corner. So really happy for that. Alrighty, so let's see. I can see some chat here on YouTube too. Eduardo says, che suonone titanico. Ciao. Ciao Eduardo. Ciao Braz. Okay, let me check here on Instagram. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, a little bit the structure of the song, and also how you guys can, play around with it, because it's really interesting to, to still be able to use the pentatonic without sound too obvious with that scale. Okay, so of course the pentatonic scale, especially the minor pentatonic scale, is one of the first scales that we all know, that we all learn, because it's so simple. It's also simple to manage because we get rid of two notes, basically the most difficult notes to handle, right? But that can be used also as a interesting background for anything that we can play, right? So one of the things that I always say to my students at the Guitar Lab is that the context is always made by the chord, okay, not by the pentatonic, okay, or the scales, just in general. So it's really interesting to try to think about chords first, and then you can always use the pentatonic, but not always on the form that we all know. And what I mean by that, you can always create a different relationship between the minor pentatonic and the chords, right? And I'm going to show you very quick examples here today in the session, so you can try it out. And I really wanted to do this every Friday, okay? So I really wanted to, do a regular basis live stream on every Friday. Let me know if that works for you guys, but it could be interesting. And for sure, for everybody that used to follow my Blues Lounge, we're gonna get back on that, but with a different format, probably with my band here in my new studio. So it's gonna be interesting, but it requires some time to manage everybody's schedule and stuff like that. So long story short, I can see Eduardo. So good, man. You are my biggest hero. Thank you, Eduardo. I really appreciate that. Also, Paolo Saba, I'll stop my practicing to follow the live streaming. Okay, so thank you, Paolo. So very first rule, okay, is to think about chords. Okay, so in this case, it's still a blues form, okay, but not in the form that we all know. So it's not 1, 4, 5, but in this case, it starts on E, and it goes on the 5 chord, so B7, and then it stays on B7th, and it goes back on E. E7th again, so 1 chord, and then it goes on a 4 chord. And then 5 chord again. Okay? This is one of those structure that you can find especially in the, specific blues genre, because the blues, when you think about the blues genre, you have to give him a context, right? And every territory here in the US has a special kind of blues, right? And this is a form that you can find very often on the New Orleans kind of style and New Orleans kind of vibe, right? So it's really interesting. So what can we do to play over those chords, okay? So using always the minor pentatonic, basically. So it's really simple. So first rule of thumb is to underline the root and the third of the chord, okay? So if I'm playing on E7th, I can always play, let me use the guitar cam, okay? So a little zoom in. So I'm on E7, so I still can play E minor pentatonic everywhere on the fretboard, right? And the first thing that I'm gonna do is to definitely underline the third, okay? So it's always minor third, major third, because the chord is an E7th, which is a major chord, right? So we cannot play in minor third over there, okay? So we always have to play minor third over versus major third, let's say that, right? So it's E minor pentatonic, but it's always minor third bend into the major third. And when it goes on B7th, I can still think about E minor pentatonic, but I will probably land on the B, on a note B, right, which is the root of the B7 chord. So I'm still thinking E minor pentatonic, but I'm playing over B7 underlying the note B, right? Which is pretty evident that I'm playing on a B7 in that way, right? So I'm still playing E minor pentatonic, but I'm landing. So I mean, and what I mean by that, I mean finish wrapping up the phrase on B. So I can start on E minor, right, and wrap up the phrase over the B note. Right, I'm still thinking E minor pentatonic. And when it goes on A7, for sure, I can still play E minor pentatonic, but again, I can close every phrase, land every phrase on A, for instance. So, right? And of course, I can definitely underline the C, natural C, C sharp, which is minor third, major third of A7th, right? So, So I'm still thinking E minor pentatonic, guys. So that's the beauty of it, okay? So we don't have to underrate the E minor pentatonic, the minor pentatonic just in general, because it's really interesting. It's really powerful, you know? It's something that you really need to use. But if you want to get out of the same kind of things, you always have to consider chords first. Chords are the most important thing if you want to have that awareness on your playing, because you have to think about always the context in order to use and to choose different scales, okay, to expand your playing, okay? So let me record the whole thing, the whole chord changes, the whole chord structure, so I'll show you how to do what I just showed you, right? So E and then B7. Go back on E7. So 1 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord again. And then 4 chord. 5 chord. 1 chord. And we're done. So let's review it. So 1 chord, E7th, right? 5 chord, B7th. Still 5 chord. And it goes back on 1, E7th, right? Still 1 chord. And then it goes on the 4, A7th, right? So still a blues form, basically. 5 chord, B7th, all right? 1 chord, right? So once again, I'll play E minor. I'm landing over B. Still thinking the same pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, but I'm underlying the B. And I go back on E. Minor third, major fifth. And it goes on A for chord, right? So I'm underlying a minor third, major third of A. And then it goes back on B, and it goes back on E7. Okay, let me do that again. B. E. A. B. And go back on E. Last time. So I'm going and so on and so forth. So basically, of course, on the last round, I used more the modes and other scales, just to let you guys understand that the basics is always thinking about chords, and always think about minor pentatonic that underlines the chord, the target notes of those chords. But after that, if you really get that part, you can always expand your playing and play other scales, and put some flavors on that, and other spices that you can always use to get, different kind of sound. Okay, but the very starting point is always thinking about chords and underline the roots, and also minor third, major third of every chord. Okay, so that's the basic. Okay, so if you really want to expand your playing and have a better awareness of everything, that's my piece of advice of today. Okay, so let me know if there's any question here. I wanted to check very quickly before I say goodbye, but I think that's it for today. I leave you guys with this very simple exercise. So you put a jam track. You can use a loop pedal, as exactly as I was doing right now, or you can use whatever jam track you like. But every time you play on every jam track, on every songs, the first rule of thumb is to understand chords. Okay, so if you don't know what chords are, you cannot improvise. Okay, otherwise you're gonna stick with the same pentatonic, with the same pentatonic on the first chord that you recognize, and that's it. Okay, so and then you can feel stuck in your playing. That's the cause of everything. Okay, so we should fix that. Okay, all right, so let me see here on Instagram if there's any comment. But if you have also any comments on YouTube, TikTok, please let me know it. And I can see Marco, the best. Ciao maestro. Ciao Marco. Marione, Robby, Diego, Alex. Okay, guys. Alrighty. Let me check here on TikTok very quickly. Cosmo on TikTok says, is that the same shape for all the chords? Yes, exactly. So you can always play E minor pentatonic. I always suggest to my students to start with the first octave of minor pentatonic. Let's say that we are on E, like in the same in the chord structure that I've been playing on, right? So you play E minor pentatonic. Okay, the first 5 notes of E minor pentatonic. So E, G, E, E, G, A, B, D, E, right? And then the same notes, you can play the same notes all over the fretboard. Okay, so okay, once you do that and you have different chords, you can always say, okay, so I'm landing on a B7, and the first note that I have to underline is the B, the root of that chord. Okay, so I'm playing like E minor pentatonic over here, and I'm closing the phrase on B. I'm landing on B at the very ending of that phrase. So it's so obvious that I'm playing over B7, right? Which changes the whole landscape of my improvisation, if you think about it, right? Let me know if that is clear, Cosmo, on TikTok. Let me see if there's any question here. Luigi says, hi Davide, are you planning a new CD? Absolutely, yes. We're working on great new music, but also, as I said at the very beginning of this live streaming, on November 28th actually, November 28th, we're gonna have a new single coming out, okay? And it's called Christmas in New York. So I'm very proud of this song. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And so it's gonna be available everywhere, but you'll know about it. I'll let you know about it, and it's gonna be really interesting. So November the 28th, the first single, and then we're gonna have other singles planned for 2026. So looking forward to send you guys some new music on your way. Really, really happy about it. Paolo dice: grande Davide, è sempre un privilegio seguirti, grazie, anche se non capisco una parola di inglese. Ok Paolo, grazie di cuore. Ok, bene. Okay, so let me play again, okay, on the same track. So you have, you know, now that we talk about everything, okay, so probably it's more clear to understand what I'm playing. Okay, let's see that. Let's see if that works. Okay, here we go. Ok, cado sul Si del Si7, ritorno sul Mi, la settima, settima, Mi settima. So on and so forth, okay? So that's it. All right, guys. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoy it. I always have fun to talk about harmony and stuff like that. So once again, thank you guys for watching this new episode of Hang with Davide, Harmony Edition, let's say that. I hope to see you guys next week, okay? So we'll try to keep this appointment every Friday, okay? So more or less around 11 Eastern Time, okay? So it's gonna be alle 5 di pomeriggio per l'Italia, okay? And but once again, if you have any question, just hit me up everywhere, okay? You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, okay? And if you're not familiar with my Guitar Lab Academy, you can always check that out on guitarlab.academy/en or guitarlab.academy per gli italiani, ok? E se avete qualsiasi domanda potete trovarmi da qualsiasi parte, ok? Scrivetemi pure. Bene ragazzi, vi mando un abbraccio, buon weekend, see you guys next week, ok? And hopefully if you have any question, once again, text me and shoot me an email everywhere, ok? Ci vediamo presto ragazzi, vi mando un abbraccione, mi raccomando, buon blues. Ciao ragazzi!